And today, we're going to talk about home inspections and helping a seller get the most out of their sales experience trying to sell their house. One thing I get asked all the time is, Mike, what do you think is the number one thing that makes buyers walk away from a home inspection? So I put out a survey and I asked folks what they think, and I got all kinds of answers. I got people saying, oh, it's got to be asbestos. Well, people do walk away because of asbestos. Oh, maybe it's a leaky roof. Well, leaky roofs are important to take care of, but wrong again. Oh, masonry work like a foundation or a chimney, that's really expensive. It is really expensive, but that is not the number one thing that makes people walk from a purchase. Failed heating systems, failed air conditioning systems, knob and tube wiring, mold, all these things are important, but none of them are the most frequent condition that causes people to leave the transaction from a buyer standpoint I'm talking about. In this market where there are so few houses for sale and a buyer finally gets their offer accepted, what would make them walk away from the deal? I'll tell you what, inaccurate disclosures. When the buyer makes an offer on a house, the seller is required to furnish a disclosure to the potential buyers. So that way the buyers know everything that they know about the house. And this disclosure is presumed to be accurate. However, for multiple reasons, the disclosures are not always accurate. Sometimes it's unintentional. People just don't know what's in their house, or they don't know how old things are, and they just write what they think, which is fine. It's an honest mistake, but some people do it on purpose. Some people are intentionally not honest with the disclosure, which is what I'm here for. As a quality home inspector, my job is to inspect the house. That way the buyer does know what they're getting for real. But when a buyer has a disclosure that drastically varies from the inspection, either because the seller is being intentionally not truthful or unintentionally making erroneous claims on the disclosure, it makes the buyer feel uneasy. You're making this great financial commitment and emotional commitment to buy this new property for your family, and you're imagining your family being in there, and you've got this disclosure, and you know it needs A, B, and C, but for the most part, you're thinking about your budget and how you're going to decorate and furnish the house and renovate and all this, and then the inspector comes in, and all of a sudden there are tens of thousands of dollars of repairs that need to happen before you can live in the house, and it makes you pause. Some people are like, all right, well, let's renegotiate. But a lot of people are like, you know what? If this much stuff came up as a surprise now, what other stuff is out there? And it makes people nervous because the disclosure is not accurate. And some people feel like they're being lied to. And once you feel like the other party is not being honest in a negotiation, it's real hard to, in earnest, continue a transaction like that. And buyers tend to walk. What can you do as a seller to avoid this awkwardness from happening? I'll tell you what you can do. You can hire Patriot to come out and do a pre-listing home inspection. Now we come through the house, we inspect it. We do the same thing we would do as if you were buying the house, except for you get the knowledge first. And then you can fill out your disclosure afterwards, and it's going to be accurate because you had a professional come through and look at everything. Now people get nervous about the pre-list inspection. Sellers are like, well, Mike, what if you come through and you find a bunch of stuff wrong with my house? And I'm usually telling them the same thing. We are going to find a bunch of stuff wrong with your house because there are no perfect houses. So don't stress out about it. You'd rather know now from me than know in 2 weeks when the buyer's home inspector comes through and you find out at that point, and now you're under the gun to either fix repairs or make financial concessions or whatever, and you can't really plan as good as you could if you had an unlimited amount of time. So do the pre-list inspection. Fix things that might be an issue for a lot of buyers if you have the means or the inclination or the time to do it. But even if you don't, just disclose the house, warts and all. It doesn't matter because it's going to make the transaction smooth. You don't want buyers making an offer on the house that you accept only to have them walk because they find stuff wrong with it later on, and then have your house go back on and off the market, and then it sits for too long. Then you got to reduce the price because it's been on the market 3 times. No. You want to disclose it accurately, get the right pool of buyers for your home. That way, you don't have anybody's time being wasted, yours or the potential buyers.